Welcome to the Run, Eat, Drink podcast. We feature destination races from across the country. And after the race, we take you on a tour of the best local food and beverage to celebrate. So whether you are an elite runner or a back of the packer like us, you'll know the best places to accomplish, explore, and indulge on your next runcation. Hey, welcome to episode 163 of the Run, Eat, Drink podcast. I'm your host, Amy.
And I am your co-host, Dana.
Welcome to the show. We are recording live, and you will see some images and video if you are watching live on YouTube, Facebook, or Twitter tonight. Thank you so much for tuning in. If not, we would encourage you to go back on YouTube and Facebook and catch those images and things we talk about tonight, because this is a very, very special episode.
Yes, and if we are talking about images, we'll do our best for our listening audience to be descriptive as descriptive as possible. We're going to do what we can.
Yeah. And we'll also say hello to you. If you are in the chat, please drop a comment. Let us know who you are, where you're from, what you're drinking tonight, and how you are. If you want to share a memory or a well wish for our coach, America's coach, Jeff Galloway, please drop those comments and we will share them.
Yeah, we've been talking about Jeff for the last several days. As many of you know, Jeff Galloway suffered a pretty bad heart attack at the end of last week.
Yeah.
And he is recovering as we speak. We wish Jeff all the best. And this week's episode is in some ways going to be an ode to Jeff Galloway. It's going to be a gigantic digital get well card, I think is the best way I could put it.
I think that is very well put.
And
yes.
We're going to get back onto the regular format and the regular release schedule for what we had planned, which was part 2 of our interview
with Kathrine Switzer. Yes.
We'll get back to that next week. But
yes.
Jeff has been part of our running journey, really, I would like to say since the beginning. I really would. But we made every possible running mistake that you can run when we began our running journey. And we've talked a little bit about it before in the past.
Oh, yeah. I think at the beginning of 2020, we kind of told our story and how we got to be where we are in this whole running and podcasting situation. I don't think we would have a podcast if it weren't for Jeff Galloway.
Yes, I 100% agree with that. I think that, number one, Jeff enabled us to actually continue running, which enabled us to eventually arrive at the point where we could podcast. So
yes.
We were the first time we decided to run, we just didn't know what the heck we were doing.
No, and we did not.
That comes down to nutrition, that comes down to hydration, that comes down to footwear, that comes down to training.
Right.
Basically, like I said, every mistake you could make, we made.
Yes. And we see you all coming into the chat and saying hello and welcome, and please try to stay as long as possible. James Gray, Rob Nadow, Josh, Maria, Rhonda Lee, all of you, welcome. And we, as Dana started to talk about and is talking about right now, we're going to share a little bit of our story and some of our Jeff memories.
Oh, yeah.
And then to kind of round out, we have some photos and some memories that you all sent in that we would love to share. And then finally, we have some special guest appearances via some video and audio messages that we really want to share with you. So we hope you can stay as long as possible. I would agree with you. We made every kind of mistake in the book.
Yeah.
But do you remember when we first decided to do the Wine and Dine half marathon relay, and we thought we would start training on that vacation to Key West.
Yeah, we decided that we were going to start training while we were vacationing for our anniversary.
Yeah.
Down in Key West, Florida, and our very first run of our running career. You call it that, I guess. Career. Can it be a career if you don't make any money on it? I don't know. But our running journey, to sound very flowery,
we're amateurs.
We did in the gym on a treadmill at the Casa Marina Resort in Key West, Florida.
Yes, beautiful setting.
And we were using shoes we had picked up
at an outlet.
At a Nike outlet in Orlando a few weeks prior. And we decided that was how we were going to get going on this. And I mean, it's great that we made that choice. It is, I do not regret making the choice, but if I'd have had a little bit of Jeff's guidance at the beginning, I would have saved myself excruciating shin splints. Let's just start.
And blisters.
I was going to say, I was going to work up to some bad blisters.
Yeah.
But shin splints.
Yes.
Were to the point where a bed sheet laying on my shins hurt.
Painful. Yes.
And it was that was awful. Awful. And then the blisters.
And then the blisters. Yes. Yes. And we made so many mistakes. Like you said, it's that we had to turn that around and get the right shoes and the right socks.
Yes.
And then we caught the running bug when we ran the Wine and Dine half marathon relay. And we thought, it's in 2 months. We'll run the half marathon at Disney.
Right.
And that was back in 2011, I think.
Yes.
And that was the very first time that we saw Jeff Galloway give a talk about his run, walk, run method.
Yeah, at the running expos, at the Run Disney events, they hosted in I believe it's called the Jostin Center at the ESPN Wide World of Sports. It's their they have a giant venue there, and it's a 2-story structure, and down on the floor they have this enormous vendor floor where you can literally buy everything you could possibly need, from shoes and socks, running clothing, nutrition, recovery items,
gear,
you name it, they have it. And they had a speaker series, and Amy's telling me about this. I always joke and say that I'm just, craft services. I'm the guy that carries the stuff. It's only kind of a joke. It's really kind of the truth. I basically just show up where she tells me to go. And she says, hey, there's a speaker I want to catch at, I think, 10:30 or 11 o'clock.
Whatever it was,
we need to get there, do everything, like pick up and all that. And I want to go catch the speaker. And I had not done any homework. I hadn't, gone and read the materials they send you or emails or all that. I'm like, we're going to Disney. We're going to run, but then we're going to Disney. And we go to the first talk, and it's pretty well attended. I mean, there were a lot of people.
It's Walt Disney World Marathon weekend, yes.
Well, I mean, at the talk itself.
Yeah. Well, you're going to have, when Jeff is the training consultant for the races, he's going to have a very well attended talk. Yeah. Well, at least I think. But
so we're watching this guy up on stage, and he's talking about the run, walk, run method. And
I was standing in the back. I think I was standing room only.
Yeah. And we're watching him, and as I'm listening to him, it's making so much sense. It is. I think I may have been more enamored by the science of his talk than you were. I just loved the idea that, human beings weren't meant to run long distances for long periods of time.
I think the history also for you.
Oh, it does. It totally fascinates me. He said, we're built to basically do a sprint for about 100 to 200 yards to either catch our next meal or avoid becoming something else's next meal. Mm-hmm. And that is how we evolved to be, hunter gatherers and, we could run down a large animal until it tired out because we could just run and catch up and keep it moving and not let it rest. And I was like, this is really fascinating stuff. That poor guy that ran the first marathon should have heard his talk.
I know. I know. Well, we heard his talk and then, we ran the race in all the wrong ways. And we went home and thought about it and downloaded his Lolo Fit app.
Yes.
Yeah. The one that you're currently using to kind of restart and take everybody along on the Couch to 5K program.
Yeah. We've talked about that. A lot of people came to the Run, Eat, Drink podcast who weren't initially runners, and we wanted to kind of get some of those people in and say, hey, give it a shot. Mm-hmm. And I'm just going through Jeff's app.
Yeah.
Basically the easiest setting possible so that anybody who's maybe an uninitiated runner isn't going to get intimidated, isn't going to get winded and smoked out there trying to do their first Couch to 5K.
Yeah. And
very short running intervals and, pretty good length walking intervals. And it's Jeff's app and
you hear him.
It's his coaching. Yes. Now when I'm doing it, you don't hear him. I am working out the tech issues on that. I don't think we're going to be able to pipe his voice in on that. So you'll have to,
but it's okay.
You'll have to listen to me.
But it's okay.
But I'll try to channel my best Jeff Galloway.
I think you can.
I'll do what I can.
I think you can. So you and I, we started with that first run and that run, walk, run, and heard his talk in the inside of the app and just and carried that through. And ever since then, we have used it to be successful.
Oh, yeah. I use the apps. We now are paid coaching clients of Jeff Galloway. We are
coaching clients.
Jeff's not a sponsor. We believe in him.
Like James Gray, who may still be in the chat, Jim, if you're still in the chat.
And we have attended running clinics. We go to every talk of his, or at least one. He'll sometimes do 2 talks a day. At the expo, we'll catch at least one. Of the same
kind of topic, and we'll try and catch it. Yeah.
But we catch at least one. And then we've caught up with him in the parks before. And we go run his race in Atlanta every December. The Jeff Galloway, the double G weekend. Barb's 5K on Saturday. Jeff's half marathon on Sunday.
Yeah. So you say we're e-coaching clients of his, and it was surreal becoming an e-coaching client of his for the first time.
Because you didn't really think it was going to be him.
No. And it is.
It's not an assistant. It's not just somebody. It's Jeff.
It's Jeff. And I think James Gray can attest to that. He is emailing. He is interacting with you via email. You tell him, listen, I can't do the long run on Saturday, or listen, I'm having those shin splints, or what am I doing wrong here if I'm feeling like, my hips are out of whack, or how do I get faster? He is there every step of the way.
He is.
And that it helps so much. So he's so positive and so flexible with you, and just I can remember that we were using his run, walk, run method, and I just wasn't getting fast enough, and I needed extra support. And so I emailed Susan, who is a part of Jeff's training programs, and I said, do you think that he could help me? Do you think that this one-on-one coaching And she said, absolutely, 100%. And I'm telling you, it was the best decision that I ever made, because his positivity, his mental training elements, the way he just knows from years and years of implementing the program and collecting research that this is what you need to do for a run walk runner at your level to be successful. He just knows. And it's amazing. And he remembers everybody. He is the mayor of I think that Tom from the Will Run For podcast dropped in the comments that he is the mayor of the Run Disney Expos, because he's on his feet for hours and hours, and he is so patient and so kind and so giving of his time with each person that is coming to tell a story of success, to ask a question.
Oh, yeah.
I can remember the first time that I was in line at an expo to talk to him, how my palms were sweaty and I was just so nervous, didn't know what to say. And he made it so easy.
He did. And what is amazing, you'll talk with him, you'll talk with Barb. He's there, aside from maybe grabbing a quick 30 minutes to go get a bite to eat.
Which he actually invited us to do with him one time.
And we got to go get a bite to eat with him and interview him over lunch once, which was great.
What an honor.
Barb will tell you he's there the entire time, and then except for the race, like if it's a challenge weekend, he'll go out, he'll run the race, he comes back, he's on his feet, and he's doing the expos.
Well, Barb won't let him do the challenges anymore.
Right.
See,
right, but he would
very
do that.
Smart, very smart,
and that's in addition to the travel sometimes, because we would see him, we've seen him, at Walt Disney World, and then turn around a few weeks later and bam, we're out in Disneyland.
And when they had the races out there.
And he would be, coming off of a junket, basically doing a series of different races. And he's doing either a half marathon, or I think he's doing like a marathon a month.
Yeah. He was doing a marathon a month, and just, he is so fit and so in shape and so dedicated and passionate about helping everyone run until they're 100.
Yeah. And in fact, that's one of his books. He talks about running till you're 100.
Yeah.
And what I think is the greatest thing is that he has brought running to casual runners. He's brought running to people who might have thought it's an unapproachable hobby, kind of democratizing running in a way, taking it away from just the realm of the elite athlete, but letting, people like me, kind of be the everyman runner. And, I'm never going to win a race, but I would like to be healthier.
Sure.
And, we talk about, we'll talk about health benefits and everything over the course of the evening, but that's all in the shadow of the fact that this man who is this healthy, who is, such a machine when it comes to running, even he was susceptible to a heart attack. Now, you're talking about a man who's in his mid 70s, runs a marathon a month, had a massive heart attack, and, had surgical procedure and medical interventions, and is now on the road to recovery.
And
so
thank goodness
for his level of conditioning. Probably if not for that, we'd be having a very different conversation. So, it's amazing. And it's a testament to what he has done.
Yes. And in his message to everybody on Facebook and in email, and I mean, he sent it out everywhere. He was very complimentary of all of the people who gave him medical care, and he was very open and transparent about what happened.
Do you want to read it, or do you want me to read it? You may not make it through.
I may not.
I can do it.
But that's true of anything tonight.
Yeah, we're gonna warn you ahead of time. There may be some tears this evening,
because it means so much. He and Barb and Carissa and that entire family means so much to me. So.
And before you start, we do have some additional people that jumped in. We got
Let's
Stephanie
say hello.
Swan, Josh, of course, Sebastian, and Susie Beck have jumped in.
Oh, thank goodness everybody's here, and we can't express how much we appreciate the support. You may have to pinch hit.
I'll pinch hit.
Okay. Dear friends, after a career of being the cheerleader and coach for those who have come back from injuries and illness, I will now be the athlete on the recovery trail. Last Monday, I was just finishing up a short elliptigo and rowing session when I got up and suddenly experienced a dizziness that I hadn't had before. After trying to walk around the house to settle myself, the symptoms got worse with nausea and extreme fatigue. I had suffered a heart attack. With 5 stents and a pacemaker defibrillator now implanted, I'm now on the road to recovery. My health and the Piedmont team allowed me to survive the heart attacks.
The Piedmont team refers to Piedmont Medical Center in Atlanta.
But even those advantages won't make it easy to get back to full strength. My family and I thank you for your support during this recovery time. I will be taking some downtime to recuperate, but I can't wait to be back seeing everyone at events, retreats, and virtually. I want to thank the team at Piedmont Hospital, my cardiologist, Dr. Carlisle, and the amazing surgeons on the plumbing and electrical teams at Piedmont for giving me the chance to have this recovery. A special thanks goes to my wife, Barb, for celebrating for our 45th anniversary by my side as my biggest supporter. I hope you can get out today and run or walk, hug or call a loved one. And if you're feeling bad, go see someone about it. Doctors and science are pretty amazing. Jeff.
Yeah. I mean, that was what he sent to everybody. So like Amy said, he's been incredibly open and transparent about everything that he's going through. And, you know, our goal, like I said, tonight, we're going to give him a big shout out from everybody, a big electronic get well card.
Yes. And just a note, if you subscribe to his newsletter, he shared that in email, and he put at the bottom an address where cards and well wishes can be actually physically mailed to.
There you go.
So, but we're going to have our own very rather large
version of that
virtual get well and well wishes, and thank you for all the amazing support. And we are so here for you and love you, and we need to pay it forward and pay it back to you.
Exactly.
Now. So
what's next? What are we doing?
Well, we have some people in the chat. Did we get everybody in the chat that had
John Schroeder just jumped in.
Messages, well wishes, saying hello. Some people are talking about how they're starting the 5K program like you.
Yeah.
So that's amazing. And continue to put them in the chat. We have well wishes from the community. Several of you in the double digits actually put a picture and a story in an email and sent it to us, or texted us, or gave us video, or so, you know, to get through this and wet our whistle just before we begin, and so I can take a breath, because, you know, like Dana said,
I may have to pinch hit.
Yeah, he may have to pinch hit. Tom, we are drinking in honor of Jeff. We are drinking our beverages tonight from Run Disney Race Cups. Yes. And we are drinking our traditional post-race beverage. And it is Moosehead that we get in Canada. That was a part of one of the very first very positive running experiences. As a result of being coached by Jeff Galloway, we got to indulge a little bit and have Moosehead in Canada at Disney and celebrate. And tonight I am wearing his inaugural Jeff Galloway half marathon race shirt.
Yes.
So
Atlanta skyline and the JG 13-1 logo.
Yeah. So we are going to share your well wishes, and please continue to put, if you come into the chat and you want to say a message you want us to put on the screen, feel free to put it in the comments and we'll put it up there, and then people can go back and watch on the YouTube
Jeff can
video.
watch.
Jeff can watch. We really want this to be an amazing source of inspiration and motivation for him, the way he's always been for us.
Absolutely.
So
you've got your first message here.
Mm-hmm. And we have to share the...
or are we sharing a video first?
No, we have to share the screen.
Oh, we're sharing the screen.
Because there's a picture.
Okay.
There are pictures to go with these.
All right. So this is the part where it's going to get interesting as I try to do the technology.
We're going to do it. We're going to do it.
All right. So we are sharing the screen and we are doing...
Tribute.
Okay.
Yay. Okay.
And
now you're going to come back. And we could actually do the second to last one.
That one there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, on the keynote, all you have to do is
Arrow
push
key.
the down arrow to get to the first picture. So this is a little bit of behind the scenes, if you will.
Yep. Enjoy seeing how the sausage gets made, everybody.
Yay.
We're doing good. All right. So, down arrow.
Mm-hmm. So our first message comes to us via Sandy Cooprider, and I hope I'm pronouncing names correctly. And if I don't, please forgive us. Okay? So this comes from Sandy. And Sandy says, my husband and I got to meet Jeff and hear him speak at a pre-race dinner for the Capital City Marathon in Olympia, Washington in 2018. At the time, we were really just beginning our running journey in our 60s, but had known Jeff since the 1980s. Jeff's enthusiasm and solid advice have helped us develop our own run-walk strategies to keep us running injury-free. Get well soon, Jeff. We are cheering for you and your full recovery. Sandy.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you, Sandy, for sending that in. And it's amazing that you started running in your 60s. That's super cool. That is so cool. So, okay. So
it's never too late.
And our next one is from Kathy Helmond.
Yes.
Kathy says, a photo of me and Jeff in 2014 after attending one of his run walk seminars at the Indy Monumental Marathon Expo. Best wishes to Jeff, who is an inspiration to all of us and has helped so many of us keep running. I hope he has a full and speedy recovery and is out there run walking again in no time. Kathy Helmond, Indianapolis, Indiana.
Yay. And this is from Alan Young. Jeff is a perfect Walt Disney World marathoner, having completed the race since 1994.
Wow.
Have run into him a number of times on the course, other races, and just when he was jogging around.
We do that sometimes. We run into people from year to year.
Yeah. He is the absolute best teacher, example, and role model for running. So we're not ever fast enough to actually like run up next to him or keep up with him in any way.
No, we've been passed by him a few times.
Yes.
And we've caught him on the out and back.
Yes, that we were out in California. We were running the Star Wars light side. Mm-hmm. And we were coming out, just heading into the first 5 miles of the course. And he was coming back about mile 9 on the other side of the road. And we passed by him and we shouted out and he waved to us.
Yeah.
That was one time we saw him on the course.
Another time we hooked up with him on the race course. Actually, I think the last 2 times we ran the Donna.
Yes. He passed us doing one of his running intervals, and in his pocket was a defizzed
Coca-Cola
or Dr. Pepper?
Coca-Cola.
Coca-Cola?
Yeah.
It looked like a Dr. Pepper bottle to me. But defizzed Coke is his hydration of choice on the course, and he just took off and kept going. But it's always so motivating to see him.
Like a true runner born of the 1970s running craze.
Yes.
You know, just amazing.
I think Bart talked about that on the show.
Yeah.
When he talked about there weren't hydration stations.
That was the pinnacle of sports nutrition.
Sports nutrition in that age was like defizzed Coke because of the sugar and the glycogen that you could restore.
And it works. As long as it doesn't mess up your stomach, I think that's the main thing.
And then on one of your favorite races in the Anchorage Run Fest, we ran into them because that was like an out and back kind of situation where marathoners and half marathoners were on the course.
Absolutely.
So love doing that. And if you ever see him, we have a picture from the Anchorage Run Fest of running into him and Barb on the course. If you ever see him, please. He'll stop, or you could run along with him and get a selfie. So, and you should do it because then that next mile feels like nothing.
Oh, exactly.
So
absolutely.
I'm just saying it's amazing just the amount of positivity he radiates just from being near you. So that is all I'm going to say.
Next photo is Brenda Rothstein. And she says, this is when I met Jeff at the Run Disney Marathon Weekend Expo in 2019. I told him the story of how Run Walk Run gave me the courage to start running as part of my health journey after losing significant weight. He was so genuine and encouraging.
I've always seen him celebrate people who have come to him and talk about extraordinary weight loss.
Oh, yeah.
And because he knows how hard that can be.
Absolutely.
So, this next one comes from, and I don't know whether it's Marissa or Marisa.
Let's go with Marissa. And if we're wrong, Marisa, we're sorry.
Okay. Rafi.
Yes, that.
And she has a picture, and it's at Jeff's race, which is what I love, and you can see the Atlanta skyline. And she says, very simply, praying for a speedy recovery.
Fantastic and great photo.
Love that. And you love that too because you went to college in Atlanta.
I do. Tawny Gomez sent us this photo, and it's her. It looks like at an expo. It says, I was so excited to meet up with Jeff in January 2019 after not seeing him for many years. It was this expo where I learned there was a local Galloway group in my city, and now I am co-program director. So grateful to have learned of Jeff's Run Walk Run method back in 1998.
Awesome.
If I had known about it in the early to mid 90s, I could have been running with Jeff at Phidippides in Atlanta while I was in college.
You could have, and it would have been amazing. And you would have been the one to introduce him to me and his program and his method to me rather than the other way around. So.
Exactly. Now, I'm going to shout out our producer in charge of hashtags.
Oh, yes.
Josh came up with "This is the Galloway."
We need that on a shirt.
I love that. That's great.
Don't we? I don't know.
Brenda and
Rhonda Lee says Brenda has a great story.
She does.
Yeah, and I'm sure there's more detail. I'm sure she kept it brief short in the email, but I would love to hear her story. See, so many of the stories that we get, they cross running groups, multiple running groups. So from like Rhonda, the Be Our Guest podcast lizards, right, and Brenda. And here we have Allison, and that crosses over into the Extra Mile podcast group. So
go ahead.
Allison says, 5 years ago, we were in Joplin. Do you say Joplin?
Joplin, Missouri.
Joplin, Missouri, for an afternoon seminar with Jeff before the Joplin Half Marathon. We loved the presentation and the race, and we're looking forward to getting more of Jeff's wisdom there that year. That may be postponed, but the good habits and running wisdom we already have received from him have been adding to our health and happiness for years now. Thanks, Jeff.
Could not agree more, Allison.
Yeah, it's so hard to focus on the positive when races were postponed, but really, the wisdom carries through in your training, especially like Rob Nadeau talks about. Running is very therapeutic. It's not always about the races and the bling.
And, Josh was even saying that in the chat a little bit ago, that if more people would get out and get moving and do something for their personal health, it would make the world a better place. And that's, that's for healthcare. That's for your own mental well-being and stress reduction and how if you're able to better handle your day, you're better able to interact with people who are under stress themselves or handle stress that you're experiencing yourself. It's it's a great way to do that.
I love this man.
Mike Bankhead sent the next photo. And of course, we've talked with Mike here on the show.
Yes, he is in charge of the Be Our Guest podcast Lizards
Facebook group.
Yes.
And Mike sent this picture from 2012. Easing into the Be Our Guest podcast Lizards. And he says it was just a good chance to say, thank you, Jeff. Thank you for letting me believe in myself. Very sweet.
So sweet. And I love him. And he is just amazing. Now, in this picture, you will see Jennifer Fink and Maria Miller. And Maria Miller sent in a submission. And I will tell you, Maria, what you sent, it was so heartfelt and so inspiring. I kind of had to encapsulate it a little bit. So Maria has
an awesome story,
quite a story like Brenda. And I encourage you to ask her to tell it because it's amazing.
Yeah.
So,
and we're going to have I think the complete version of this up later.
Yeah, I can put the complete one up on the...
We're going to let you know what's coming at the end of the episode. We have something else. We're going to be able to read all of these too.
Mm-hmm. So Maria says, 5 years ago, a friend signed me up for a virtual, and I tried telling her I don't run. I can't. She proceeded to tell me, just walk and run when you can. Recently, I was introduced to the Run Eat Drink podcast through that same friend, and since that first virtual, I have done several live 5Ks and many miles with her. I hear about you, I hear about Jeff, and hear you speak on the Run Eat Drink podcast, because she was writing directly to Jeff. I'm inspired and I realize the power of Run, Walk, Run. I realize this famous person actually teaches the techniques that I had picked up over the years. I admire you, Jeff, and the wisdom and coaching that you have given so many. Through you, I found peace and belief in myself and the power I have within me. Thank you for all you have done and continue to do. Now 40, I just did my first live half marathon, and this is a photo from that day, I believe. I've just done my first live half marathon and continue to train for my next and a full in my future. My medal racks are full, and so is my self-esteem and confidence. Words cannot express how much strength you have given me physically, but even more so mentally. The only regret I have is that I didn't know of you sooner. Prayers for a strong and quick recovery.
That's fantastic.
Oh, Darlene.
Darlene just dropped into the chat and dropped us a nice little get well message.
Oh.
Get well soon, Jeff. Thank you for your encouragement, words of wisdom, and enthusiasm for running that has encouraged so many of us to believe we could run too. I've enjoyed meeting you at several Run Disney events and look forward to seeing you again, hopefully soon. And that's from Darlene Kaminsky.
Oh.
Thank you, Darlene.
Thank you, Darlene. That's great.
Wade Anderson sent in this photo.
Another Be Our Guest podcast lizard.
Yeah. Says, I would have never completed my first full marathon without his help and guidance. At the Wine and Dine 2018 Expo, I asked him how I should continue training after running Wine and Dine. He literally found a scrap of paper and wrote out my training runs for the next 8 weeks before Marathon Weekend 2019, where I ran my first full marathon. I have kept the scrap of paper with my medal and bib. That's awesome.
What a memento. That's so incredible.
Absolutely.
That's why I'm so glad that I have.
And I've seen him do it for other people too.
Like they on scraps of paper, he signed bibs.
I've seen him do. Yeah, I mean, he'll sign anything you put in front of him, which is great. But you know, he has his whole booth there. He's got his books he's selling. It would be very easy for him to go, well, I talk about that in my book over here, you know, for $19.99. He doesn't do that.
No.
You get to talking to him. Hey, I'm looking for help. He will sit and write it out for you right there. And he knows the intervals off the top of his head. That's what kills me. He's a machine when it comes to that.
You. That's why I'm glad that I have his training book and that it's autographed by him.
Yep.
So, which he will do too.
We're believers.
Yes. So, I don't know if he's still in the chat. I hope so. This is Tom from the Will Run For podcast. So, his methods truly cross over several different running groups and several different podcasts.
Yes.
So, Tom of the Will Run For podcast says, as a back of the pack runner who met Jeff at my very first half marathon, Wine and Dine 2016, I used his app to prepare and learn how to manage my intervals. His voice in my ear telling me to start running. You should do it.
Start running.
And start
walking. Yeah.
Gave me words.
He has a very soft Southern accent, and
I love it.
It's so calming when you're out there just pounding the pavement in 98-degree Florida heat.
It's true. Sometimes it's the only thing that keeps you going. Giving me words of wisdom and encouragement gave me all the confidence I needed to run my race. Meeting him after listening to him for about 8 months was like meeting a celebrity. No joke, man. No joke.
Absolutely.
I wish him a speedy and safe recovery.
And we have another guy that we've been talking to here recently about
He was actually featured on Inside the Runner Studio on the Will Run For podcast.
Yes, and he's been doing some running in the Orlando area recently.
Yeah.
And this is Greg in Orlando, Ryan. And Greg sent us this photo, and he says, while I've never had a chance to thank Jeff in person, his popularization of the run-walk method allowed me to finish my unplanned marathon that was only supposed to be my second half at Walt Disney World in 2017. That fateful, accidental marathon changed the course of my life forever, and I owe a special thanks to Jeff Galloway for getting me through 3 years of Walt Disney World marathons and a strategy I can utilize as I explore longer distances. His impact is immeasurable.
It's so true.
Yeah.
It really is. It really is.
I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that accidental marathon would have been the one that was called on account of weather.
Wasn't
and then
it?
They gave people the option
of running the marathon?
Running the full marathon on the next day.
Like deferring to somewhere.
If I'm not mistaken. Greg, let us know if we're correct on that one.
If you're in the chat.
You're in the chat
or
when
Tom,
you see this.
Or Tom, if you know, also, like, weigh in. But yes, that's incredible. And this is JoJo. She's one of our patrons.
Yes.
She's an amazing runner. And she sent in this picture, and I believe it's from the inaugural Jeff Galloway half, if I'm not mistaken. Same one that I'm wearing the shirt for today. And JoJo says, finding his run walk method was crucial to me post back fusion surgery.
Oof.
It allowed me to work in baby steps as I healed. And although neurosurgeon gave me the green light to run, I decided to stick with run walk because it wasn't so hard on my body and the recovery post race was easier.
I think that makes such a difference, especially if you're doing challenge weekends and being able to actually enjoy yourself and not just be dedicated to tending to your beaten up body.
Yeah.
It's very, very nice. And it makes those weekends much more enjoyable. And Susie's chiming in and saying, yes, I was there in 2017. And yes, that's true.
Oh, Susie, thank you for the confirmation.
Thank you.
Yay. Chat for the win.
And this photo is Rhonda.
Rhonda Lee, I hope you're in the chat
McDonald,
still.
Rhonda Lee. And it says, her note says, Jeff is the reason I'm a runner. When I first started running, I downloaded the Couch to 5K program like many people learning to run. It was a rough experience for me, and I felt like I was crawling and going slower as the intervals got longer. It was a struggle, and I almost stopped. Then I discovered Jeff's method, which helped me develop a love for running and sustain it for the last few years. Using this method, I have completed a number of 5Ks, 10Ks, and half marathons. This last 14 months with the pandemic have been so challenging. One of the bright lights has been focusing on running. I use the Lolo app, and listening to Jeff's voice is so motivating and encouraging. Using the Jeff Galloway method has helped me lose over 30 pounds. Awesome. I am the strongest and healthiest that I have been in a very long time, and Jeff Galloway has played a huge part of my journey. Again, Jeff, wishing you a speedy recovery, even though we've never had the pleasure of meeting. Thank you so much for your motivation and encouragement.
Oh, it's so nice.
Tom's got to sign off, but thank you for popping in, Tom.
Thank you.
Thank you for giving a shout out and a well wish to Jeff.
Yes.
He says, bless both of us and bless Jeff in his recovery. Take care, friends. Take care, Tom.
Take care. So
our next photo.
This next one, we love this woman.
She's a machine, too.
Suzanne Smalling Edler. The first time I met Jeff in person was at my very first marathon, the 26.2 with Donna.
In 2012.
In 2012. I told him the story of how I decided to run a full after seeing an ex-boyfriend and bad breakup hit the wall at Chicago
Rock and
Roll in 2011. I had looked up his time and I had beat him.
I had to beat him.
Oh,
and I had beat him. She did beat him. Oh, that's awesome.
She did beat him. Jeff died laughing and said, "You checked his time? I love it." You should say that because, you know. But
I don't do a good Jeff Galloway impression.
This is the picture. She also included a picture of Jeff, Sarah, and Suzanne at the pasta dinner before the race. Sarah introduced me to the Extra Mile podcast, and it was from there that I found you, which I think she's talking about us.
Yes.
Now flash forward another 18 months to the Iron Horse Half 2012, 2 weeks after the Chicago Marathon, also 2012, which I also ran. Jeff spoke on that Saturday before the race. I went for the talk and to watch my son. Didn't try for a half that soon after a full, especially after driving down from Chicago. This is a photo from that. I never would have started, much less continued running, if it hadn't been for this run, walk, run method.
Fantastic. We're right there with you. We know what you mean.
This next one is the toughest.
There we go. I know these guys.
Yeah.
I'll read this one.
Okay.
This is me pinch hitting. I said it was going to happen.
Yeah.
It says, Jeff, I'm having Amy and Dana read this because I doubt I would get the words out. You mean the world to me. When I started my journey and nobody would ever think of me as anything but some out-of-shape old man in the back of a race, you introduced me at the Donna Expo as one of your e-coach athletes. And I have never forgotten that and try to pay that forward every day in the running community. Please get well and know my thoughts and prayers are with you and Barb, and I will see you again soon. Jim. Thank you, Jim. And Jim's, you know, he's a ray of sunshine, getting to run into him out on the race courses. And it's just been, you know, fantastic getting to know him. And he's kicked us in the butt to do more and get better. And, you know, we can't thank him enough. So thank you very much for sending that in, Jim. I'm just checking some audio here and making sure that we're okay.
Yeah. Can you all hear us okay? Let us know.
Testing 1, 2. We should be okay. I think that everybody's hearing us. Nobody has said they can't hear us so far.
Okay.
All right. I'll fix it in post. You know what that means, James J. Williams? I'm not going to fix it in post, but it sounds good to say. Okay, Josh's audio is good.
Good.
All right. So that was the letters and written messages that you guys have sent into us, and we can't thank you enough for taking the time and sending those into us. I mean, it really is great to read those. We are compiling them, and we're going to have a special website set up that we're going to send to Jeff, where he can read all of these. He'll be able to watch this video back.
It'll be a page on runeatdrink.net.
Yeah, it's going to be runeatdrink.net/Jeff. I mean, it doesn't get any easier than that. So that's going to be there. But we have some more that we wanted to share with you, and this is going to be on the video side of things.
Yes.
And all right, Susie, I don't know. Maria says she can hear us great. Susie says, what? Uh-oh. I hope you're kidding with us, Susie.
I think she is.
I really do. Because we're almost an hour into it. If you can't hear us by now, you've been doing like bad lip reading the entire time. But we have a couple of video messages that we wanted to share with everybody.
Indeed.
As well. And I think this would be a great time to share those.
Yes.
What do you think?
I think so.
Okay. Who should we start with, do you think? And should we give well, you know what? Why don't let's start with this one. This is a moment from an interview that we did with Jeff Galloway a couple of years ago at the Donna Marathon weekend. We had the opportunity to sit down with him because a lot of people don't realize that he was instrumental in the creation of that race.
Yeah.
And Amy got to do a little sit down with the 3 people responsible for that race.
That is true.
So.
It was amazing. And let me just tell you, you can stop sharing the screen if you want.
Yes, ma'am. There we go.
Well, I mean, you could do what you want. You do what you want over there on the technical side. Going to that weekend, I had been in touch with Amanda Napolitano and said, I really want to sit down with Donna and capture her story for the Runcation Nation. And when we got to Southern Grounds the morning of the Social Shakeout run, she said, well, why don't you sit down with Donna and Dr. Perez, Edith Perez, her doctor, and Jeff? Why don't you do that? And I was so humbled, so honored. The palms were super sweaty because I don't know. I just wanted it to be amazing. And the 3 of them made it amazing.
They really did. They were so welcoming.
They were so welcoming. Donna basically did the interview herself, having been a television anchor and television personality in the Jacksonville area. I was just fangirling the whole entire time, but I chose this segment of the interview that we did just to show everybody who may not remember it or who is coming to the podcast late or for the first time recently.
Yes.
Just to show you this is the spirit of Jeff, and this is why Donna had her connected, why she connected to Jeff, and why this weekend is so amazing for every kind of runner or run walker. So
here we go.
Right. And then I happened to be at the River Run Expo, which is the 15K national championship that's here every year. And Jeff and I saw each other. He saw I was promoting my foundation, and Jeff was, of course, as always, helping people learn how to run. And he said, I I love what you do with your foundation. How about if we train some people to run a marathon, to raise money for you? And I went, sure. I was on the air as a news anchor at that time. So I threw it out on the air, and Jeff said, if we get 10 people, that would be great. Well, we got 86 the first year, and we raised over $100,000. Oh. And so the wheels started spinning, right? It's never, nothing's ever good enough for this group. I will tell you, we're always looking for the next thing. And I said, there's no marathon out there for breast cancer. There's a lot of 5Ks, there's a lot of walks, but there's no classic marathon. Well, these two, you can always count on them to say yes to pretty much everything that sounds impossible. Right? So I went to both of them and said, what do you think? Can we get Mayo to sign on to be partners with this, which was no easy task. And then Jeff, would you be our official coach? Because duh. America's coach. Why would you not want that? And plus, you want people to feel empowered to come run this race. This is not about the fastest time. This is about empowering people to feel like they're doing something to help end this disease. So that's how it all got started. So we started the National Marathon to Finish Breast Cancer in 2008, and here we are, millions of dollars and runners later, having helped more than 12,000 families.
How incredible.
Yeah.
And to get him on board, and I know how he is. I know that he's like, we can do this.
Yeah.
I bet he didn't even blink.
Let's do it. And I love that it's his spirit in that race, that it attracts so many. Yes, it attracts world-class athletes like Joan Benoit Samuelson. Yes. But
I know who she is.
I know, who, we all know who she is. I don't know. We could tell.
Amy knows who she is too.
It wasn't that year, but the first year we were at the race, Joe Benoit Samuelson was there, and he says that I said, do you know who you are? And I didn't. I said, I know who you are. But that's another story for another day.
Anyway.
What I love about it is, Donna says, he makes this race doable, approachable, and amazing for everybody.
Yeah. He really does.
For every runner, every type of runner. So
absolutely. Well, since we're on the topic of the Donna half marathon or marathon weekend, how about we play the message from Amanda Napolitano?
We should, yes.
So this is from the director of the Donna Foundation.
Jeff Galloway. You know me, Amanda Napolitano here on behalf of the entire team of the Donna Foundation. We are sending you all this love. You see all this love? All this love is coming your way for healing and to get back out on the roads with us soon. In the meantime, we love you. Listen to Barb. Listen to Barb. And listen to Barb, and you'll be fine. We love you so, so much. Mwah.
I think that there was a hint in there.
Listen to Barb.
About listening to Barb.
I got listen to Barb.
That's what I picked up from that. What do you guys think in the chat? Do you think that Jeff should listen to Barb?
Yeah. I think Jeff should listen to Barb. All the way from back when she said it's time to retire from Dopey. From the Dopey, from the let's do every race at the marathon weekend. So that's all I'm saying. I just think she is a smart woman. She is an amazing person. They both have hearts of gold, and she is, happy 45th wedding anniversary to them, by the way, while we're on that topic of Barb and Jeff and the amazing way they support the running community. So
absolutely.
Yeah.
So we do have another audio clip. This is going to be coming from somebody in the running community, but a fellow podcaster. And this is a gentleman that we met, actually got to meet up with in Atlanta.
Yes.
Running Jeff's race. This is Kevin Gwynn of the Extra Mile Podcast.
Hello, Dana and Amy. This is Kevin from the Extra Mile podcast. First of all, I think it's very sweet of you to put this together and include me. Thanks so much for that. I consider myself very lucky and fortunate to call Jeff not just my running coach, but a close friend. Jeff Galloway embodies everything that I look for to surround myself with to improve my life and my character. My favorite author, Mark Twain, once said, "Keep away from people who try to belittle your ambitions. Small people always do that, but the really great make you feel like you too can become great." My advice to you would be to surround yourself with people just like Jeff Galloway. And my ask of you right now is to help me storm heaven with prayers for Jeff and his entire family. Thanks again, Amy. Thanks again, Dana. And y'all enjoy your extra mile.
That's awesome.
What a great quote.
It really is.
What a great quote he included. And if you're not a fan of, or you haven't checked out, if you haven't checked out the Extra Mile podcast or the Extra Mile podcast Galloway edition. The Galloway edition is how I came to that community to get more information about the run, walk, run method and strategies and to hear stories and to hear them talk, Kevin and Jeff, on that show. And then got introduced to the Extra Mile podcast, where people give submissions about their training and cheer each other on and give advice and ask questions. What a community the Extra Mile podcast community is. And I hope they're enjoying their extra miles in honor of Jeff this week.
Absolutely. And I love this. Josh said Jeff and Barb should do a Couch to 45 Years book for relationships.
Oh, yeah. I agree. 100%.
That's awesome.
100%.
That is awesome.
Oh.
And we have more. Who next? Where should we go? Are we doing more from Jeff's race? I see this looks like Orpheus Brewing in the background here.
Okay, well, that is old school Run, Eat, Drink podcast. That is, so I don't know if you want to do that yet or, well, okay.
Hold on. She's getting props. It's like a Carrot Top
all right,
act here.
so,
okay.
And that's like 6 minutes.
Okay.
So I don't even
Maybe
know
not.
I don't know if you want to do it. We could do it at the end.
We could close out with that one.
We could close out the show, and that could be bonus for anybody who wants to hang around and watch it.
Oh, we'll do that. Okay.
If you want, that could be bonus after we do the outro.
We'll do that.
For the show, but it's one of my favorite memories from the Jeff Galloway half marathon weekend. It spans over 2 years of time. And the first year, the second year couldn't have happened without the first year and the mistake that I made.
The mistake that you made.
Yes.
Are we showing this?
We can.
We've talked about this ankle before.
Yeah. Here we are at the Jeff Galloway half marathon weekend, and it is, the fourth year.
28 degrees at the starting line.
But it was not raining, so that was good. And I was like, hey, I did a video intro because that was, we were still video podcast. I was like, we're going to get it done. I start, and in the first quarter mile, I look away from what I'm doing and
start messing with something on your running belt.
Yes, I started messing with something in my pockets of my running skirt, and I twisted my ankle. I rolled my ankle.
She found the pothole at the intersection of 10th and Piedmont.
And there were still, 12.4 miles to go, something like that.
Sure. Yeah. 12.9.
Okay.
Yeah.
It was like 2/10 into the race. And the ambulance came and said, if you want to get a ride back to your hotel, or if you, and I said, no, because Jeff has always said that no matter what, he is going to be at the finish. No matter how long anybody takes, he's going to be at the finish for the very last person. And it's true, because I said, we're going to do it, and I don't care how long it takes. We're going to get to the end and see him. And we did. And there are pictures of me just bawling because as the race went on, Dana's behind me, and he keeps looking at that ankle and looking at that ankle and looking at it get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger.
I was pretty convinced that you had a fracture.
Yeah.
And she was going to drag herself across that finish line come hell or high water.
So I made it to the end, and maybe the last 10th of the mile of that half marathon, Jeff came onto the course and walked me across the finish line. He had his arm around me. It was so wonderful. It took me 5 hours, and I made it, and he was there because he's always there for all of us in the running community. And the next year, we went through our weight loss, and
I told her not to mess with anything on her belt.
And he told me to always look forward. You know, I healed slowly and steadily. And
now, people listening can't see the photo we have up here. This picture is of Amy's ankle.
Oh,
this is not 2 or 3 days later.
This was the same day.
We got back to the hotel and we managed to get her shoe, sock, and calf sleeve off so that
without having to cut them off.
Without having to cut it off. And that actually was, I think, an impressive feat. Yeah. And the level of bruising that you're seeing here, this was immediate. It was awful. This photo was taken within 30 minutes of us getting back to the hotel.
Yeah, it was terrible. But he, you know, I had to be there. He was there. So,
and I have other photos that I took of her on the course, and her ankle swole to close to 3 times its normal size. It was.
So I earned this medal, buddy.
And her
Amy's
doctor actually said that she probably would have been better off just breaking it. It would have healed faster.
Yeah. So, you know,
that was quite a time.
So the next year was I believe the 5th anniversary. Mm-hmm. And we had gone through weight loss transformation. We had gotten healthier.
Susie's got to go. Thank you, Susie. We love you for jumping in. Thank you so much.
Love you too. So the next year I come back stronger, better, and I earned a PR.
Yeah, not only did she beat her 5-hour personal record of longest half marathon ever, she got her PR for shortest half marathon she ever ran. So
the same distance in the shorter amount of time.
And we learned that Amy is in fact a cold weather runner.
Yes.
So the woman who lives in Florida does better in cold weather, which we never get.
Yeah. So
live and learn.
Retirement. I don't know. So that, I mean, and ringing that PR bell and screaming across the finish line.
Yeah.
And being able to take the photo in our rain gear because it was pouring down rain that day. That's a memory that he coached me to achieve.
100%.
Yeah. So, yeah.
So who are we showing next?
Oh. Well. Should we, talking about Jeff and his supportive training, should we also talk about Chris Twiggs, because he is the Galloway program director, and he's the director of Galloway programs and chief training officer, I believe is his title.
Yeah. So here's a message from Chris Twiggs, who we've also had on the show.
He's sharing a fun story.
Hey, Amy and Dana, thank you so much for doing this, putting together this tribute to Jeff Galloway. I'm Chris Twiggs, and I'm fortunate to work full-time for Jeff Galloway as his chief training officer. And there are thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions of running stories about Jeff. And I'm sure you'll collect a lot of them for this project. So I want to tell you a story that's about Jeff, but is not about his running. But it certainly helps demonstrate what a calm character Jeff is. He was staying at our house years ago, and we had a pet go missing months earlier. It was a pet snake, had gone missing months earlier. We were convinced that this snake had gotten out of the house and was gone for good. We were never going to see it. And so Jeff was there at the house, and I was sitting up on a bar stool at our bar, and he was sitting in a lower chair a little bit away from me. And we're having a conversation. And at one point, just as calm as can be, he said, Chris, there's a snake under your stool. Just like that. He wasn't excited. He wasn't upset. He wasn't alarmed. He was just, look at that. There's a snake. And I looked down and, oh yeah, it's a 6 foot long, hungry now, ball python. Just hilarious. And I'll never forget that. It just shows you what a calm and cool and collected guy Jeff is in private. And he's that way in public, of course, as well. I love him so much. And I know he is going to love hearing these stories and getting all of these well wishes from all of these folks. So thank you so much for putting this together. And thank you to all of the people that are participating in this. Thank you for being a part of Jeff Galloway's extended family and mine.
What a great guy.
Yeah.
I don't think you would have handled that snake situation in quite the same way. Mm-mm. Something else about the woman who lives in Florida. Not a fan of snakes at all.
Nope. No.
Not even a little. Mm-mm. Not even the little cute ones.
No. None. Zero. No snakes. But he takes every situation in stride.
Absolutely.
He takes every situation in stride. And who better to know this about him than Bart Yasso?
Who... you mean the mayor of running?
The
Bart
mayor
Yasso?
of running. What a wonderful man.
Who we met, actually, we got to see him. He gave a talk with Jeff and Marco Cicchetto.
Yes.
At the Anchorage Run Fest. And it was an amazing talk, getting to hear those three men speak and get you ready for the event and get your carbs in you while you're listening to them. And they're kind of bantering with each other and then talking with you about their stories and giving you their presentations. Awesome. Absolutely awesome. Here's Bart Yasso.
Jeff Galloway, Bart Yasso here. I'm hoping you have a healthy recovery. It doesn't have to be speedy, but I'm hoping you have a healthy recovery and you can get back into the running community and get out there and walk across this country like you have been doing all these years. So get well, Jeff. We miss you, and the running community is supporting you and behind you all the way.
That was great.
He's such a great man. He was feeling a little under the weather when I reached out to him, and he said, that's all right. You just, I'll do it. You just give me a day. I'll do it. And he sent it right in yesterday, and I think that they are kindred spirits in terms of their determination, their perseverance, their ability to handle the challenges of life.
Yeah, and I love the fact that it's that's a message from one icon of the running community to another.
Yes.
But you have another.
I do.
You got a message from the future.
Oh, are we doing that one? Okay.
Are we doing another one?
Okay. Well, yeah, no, we can do the message from the future.
Okay.
We can do the message from the future. I also reached out, and you alluded to the fact that we postponed the second half of Kathrine Switzer's interview to next week in order to do this tribute and get it out there in the feed and get the website up for Jeff so that he knows and he has access to all of these positive messages. I think that the support of the running community is going to be so great for his recovery.
Absolutely.
And for the family. And when I reached out to her, Kathrine said, of course I will do a video message for Jeff Galloway. So here is her message with a very special guest as well from the future.
Hi, Jeff. This is me, Kathrine Switzer, and
Roger Robinson, and we're in Wellington, New Zealand, the furthest fans in the Jeff Galloway fan club.
And we're wishing you the best of luck and love for good health and a speedy recovery.
And Jeff, during that recovery process, always remember to include some walk breaks. All best.
Lots of love. Be well.
Take those walk breaks.
Take those walk breaks now. Look, we've had a lot of running royalty and inspirational runners and so many stories here today.
Yes.
And tonight and on the episode. And so many people are hanging in the chat, listening. And
thank you so much for doing that. By
really,
the way,
we know. I know it's gone a little bit longer.
It's a supersized episode.
It's a supersized episode, and we were hoping for a supersized episode. There's one last video clip that I want to share. Kind of a story for us. When I had my left knee operated on in 2014, I could not attend a race, Princess Half Marathon weekend with a couple of coworkers. And they knew how I was struggling in the recovery because back then I wanted to get back to it so much. I went too fast. And they knew how envious I was of them going to Run Disney Expo and seeing one of my favorite people of all time.
You suffering from FOMO? Say it isn't so.
Say it isn't so, right? So this is a testament to what Jeff does at those expos on his feet for hours and hours before running a half marathon or running a full marathon. In that case, a half marathon, the Princess Half. My friends waited in the long line to speak with him and asked him to do a video message to me.
Here it is. Yeah.
Hi, Amy. We're with your favorite person ever.
Amy, I'm sorry that you're not here. You will be back. And you just have to realize that this thing will heal. So back off, stay below the threshold. You're going to be back running with us. We look forward to that.
Yay! Bye, Amy. Love you.
Look at that.
And we could say the same thing to Jeff.
Absolutely.
You will recover. We know you and how you persevere. And we know Barb and how well she takes care of you and how well she looks after you, and Carissa and Weston and all of the family looking out for you and supporting you. And it will take time, but you will be back with us. And we love you more than we could say.
So I think I'm going to pinch hit now. And say that that is going to do it for the videos proper. We're going to do the show outro, and then we're going to have a Marvel-esque post-credits scene.
An Easter egg, if you will.
If you want to stick around for that. Yeah. But this episode will go up in the feed tonight. We'll be uploading later this evening, and hope that you guys will download and listen. We will also have the new section of our website, just for Jeff, runeatdrink.net/Jeff. Check it out. If you've got something that you'd like to submit that we can add to the website, a photo of you with him, or just a little message of well wishes and, to get well soon, send that to us. Send that to info@runeatdrink.net, and we will add that to the giant digital get well soon card that is this episode.
Yes.
So with that, we're going to play the outro, and then you will have your Marvel-esque post-credits scene. No association with Marvel or the Disney companies. Thank you guys for joining us tonight. This is a great episode for that long run, a couple of short runs around the house or wherever you might be.
Jeff, we love you more than we can say, and we are wishing you a speedy and healthy recovery, and we look forward to seeing you back out there running.
Absolutely.
I'm your host, Amy.
And I'm your co-host, Dana.
Stay safe, stay well, and we will accomplish, explore, and indulge with you and Jeff really soon. Thanks for listening to this week's episode of the Run, Eat, Drink podcast. We're having another great year thanks to your support. Don't forget to follow us on Facebook and Instagram. We're at Run, Eat, Drink Podcast. And on Twitter, we're Run, Eat, Drink Pod. You can also give us a call at 941-677-2733 or send us an email at info@runeatdrink.net. Visit our website at runeatdrink.net and click on the subscribe link so you don't miss a minute. Find out how you can support the show at patreon.com/runeatdrinkpodcast. Accomplish, explore, and indulge right along with us. We'll talk to you next time. Hey everybody, it's Amy from the Run, Eat, Drink podcast at runeatdrink.net. Welcome to episode number 45. It's a special episode. We just participated in the Jeff Galloway half marathon weekend, and actually it was the 5th anniversary of the race weekend. 5 awesome years that Jeff and Barb have put together for us in the Run, Walk, Run community. We're not the only ones who want to express gratitude. Here are some special messages just for Jeff and Barb.
Congratulations to Jeff and Barb for 5 years. Cheers. Cheers.
Oh, congratulations, Jeff and Barb. I'm just so excited to help celebrate the 5 years of the race. I heard about this race 2 years ago, the Double JG, and unfortunately this is the first year that I was able to do it, but I'm so glad I did it. Screw the rain. This is an awesome race. I met some awesome new friends. I have my bling. I'm getting bling tomorrow, so I am so excited. This is the first of many years of me doing Double JG. Woo woo!
Hi, Jeff and Barb. Just wanted to wish you guys a very happy 5-year anniversary of the Jeff Galloway Half Marathon in Atlanta. I'm so looking forward to joining you guys this year for the 5th year and adding to this collection. Here's the previous 4, and I know that the next medal that you guys have planned is huge, and I'm excited to get it. Love the race. Appreciate so much what you guys do for the Run, Walk, Run method and supporting all of us. Thanks from the Extra Milers. Thanks from me. Thank you, Jeff, for e-coaching me this year, and I hope you both have a very happy holiday season.
Jeff and Bart, congratulations on 5 years of a fantastic event. We're proud to be part of it. We really enjoy it, and you are such gracious hosts. We'll be here for at least 5 more. Thanks.
Hi, Jeff and Barb. Congratulations on the 5th anniversary of your race. I hope to be at many more. Thank you. Tulsa Galloway.
Hey everybody, this is Kevin and JD from the Extra Mile podcast. Jeff, this message is for you.
Jeff, you rock. Thanks for everything everything you do. Thanks for the last 5 years of a blast. And here's to 50 more of them.
Everything he said, and thank you for not really liking being a history teacher, because this wouldn't be here if you liked being a history teacher.
Thank
you rock, man.
Yay!
I want to say a big congratulations to Jeff and Barb for the amazing things that you do for the running community, for bringing Run Walk One so more people can be successful in finishing their races, and congratulations on year 5.
Jeff and Barb, we would just like to thank you. We're just an average couple from North Atlanta and Milton. You've been a real inspiration to me to get me going, just for my health now that I've turned 60 this weekend. And here I am with my wife, Lori.
All right, hey, this is Josh. I'm a bartender here in Orpheus. We loved having y'all here for the event. We just want to congratulate Jeff and Barb on 5 fantastic years, and we hope to see you back here next year.
Hi, Jeff. This is Roxanne and Carl Baggett. We are here in Atlanta, having just finished your awesome Jeff Galloway weekend. We did the 5K and the half marathon this morning, and we just wanted to say thank you. I wanted to say thank you, Jeff, for your Run Walk program. In February, I will be doing the Donna Full Marathon. That will be on my 10-year anniversary of breast cancer survival, and I was given about a 10% chance of being here, much less doing that full marathon. And if it wasn't for your Run Walk program, I would not be doing that marathon. And my husband Carl this morning did Barb's 5K, and that is just about 8 months after open heart surgery. And that 5K today would not have been possible without your Run Walk program. Thank you, Jeff, for all that you give to the running community, and thank you from both of us.
Jeff and Barb, I want to say congratulations for 5 fantastic years of one of our favorite races and an amazing event. We could not have started this journey of running without you, and we sure as heck wouldn't have continued it for the better part of the last decade without your mentorship and guidance. And we are looking forward to many more years of Run, Walk, Run with you guys.
All right, Jeff and Barb, we haven't officially met, but I just want to thank you from the millennial generation, if you will. This is my first 5K. It's truly been life-changing. I'm used to running about 10.5-10-minute miles. Today I ran 8. And the adrenaline, the rain, the cold, just everything led up to a perfect morning, a perfect day. And here's to at least 50 more years. Cheers.
Jeff and Barb, congratulations on 5 incredible years of this fantastic race weekend. And here's to many, many, many more. I'm standing here with these medals around my neck because of you and because of your support and all that you've taught me about persevering, about positive mantras, and about believing that you can do it. So thank you so much for all you do for everyone in the run community, but especially for everything you've done for me and for Dana. We are Run Walk Runners, and we have achieved goals because of your support, encouragement, and advice as a mentor, friend, and our coach. So thank you.